Yo, the enemy's public, I gotta keep my eyes open. Pay attention, stop walking around like you blindfolded. This not the World Cup, but Nasir be kicking knowledge. This the type of information you can never learn in college. It's time to fight back, it's no more trying to play it cool. We got interviews, podcasts, and got the latest news. So sit back and relax, we about to get it started. Earth is a canvas, and guess who's the con artist? They brainwashing us, the system corrupted. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. I said you are now rocking with the enemy's public. Hey.
A once goal-driven, ambitious Sapphire turns to the street life after the sudden death of her big brother Dre. Dre's best friend Devontae tries to honor his homeboy's last request of looking out for his baby sister. The rebellious Sapphire makes it very difficult for Devontae to carry out his promise. Author Angela King James presents Fire. Get it on Amazon, on paperback, or Kindle.
Peace. This is The Enemy's Public, and I am Bro.Nasir. Corrupt to the Core, Part 3. Today, this evening, I want to deal with and talk about when a cop's corruption finally catches up to him and he has to face internal affairs in a deposition to face termination. When the federal authorities were incarcerating young black men and women, the federal authorities weren't referred to as corrupt. When law enforcement were locking up brothers and sisters up on RICO charges, it wasn't corrupt in the eyesight of people who are being locked up on RICO charges today. You know, no one on either side of political parties, the jackass or the elephant, was speaking out against the ATFBI, MFCIA, the original alphabet crews. Now that politicians and former presidents, former mayors of major cities are being indicted on federal charges, several of them, all of a sudden, it's considered a witch hunt and unfair, just because they're being held accountable for crimes that they've committed. I'll say allegedly, yet they have the evidence. Local law enforcement are using the same argument when they are finally being held accountable for their transgressions against people in cities, major cities and small cities. At first, it was our words against theirs. Then after the Rodney King beating, being caught on tape, police around the United States are wearing body cameras, yet today they thumb their nose at the body cameras because still there's barely any accountability. Even if it is accountability monetarily, most of the time it's monetarily. It's at the people's expense, because when the police are being sued and they're found guilty and there's some type of punishment, sometimes they go to jail justifiably, but when millions of dollars are awarded to people who sue the police, it comes out the people's pockets, the taxpayers' pockets of that municipality, and it doesn't hurt the police budget. My sentiment is, if the police violently arrest somebody or violate somebody's rights, harm somebody or kill somebody, and they're found liable for somebody's death, it shouldn't come out the taxpayers' pockets. It should come out of the police budget. It should hurt them. Today, this evening, I have a video. It's kind of wild. It's wild. I'm going to show the traffic stop that didn't lead to arrest, but the traffic stop was wild because of the behavior of the police officer, what he did for a little of nothing, for absolutely nothing, looking for drugs. In particular, wasn't even drugs, it was weed. Weed's a plant. But looking for weed and using a young man's past as an excuse to violate his rights. And I'm going to show this video footage and give my narrative.
You want me to go in?
Hey, but honest to God, too, man, that's not 13% 10. Y'all need the wrong.
It is, bro.
Oh, it ain't, man.
Okay. All right, listen, your car doesn't really smell like weed anymore.
I know it don't. It's a black and mild. But it don't smell like weed anymore after
after we took you out and I put you over here, man.
I don't even smell like weed, man. I told you that from the get-go. It's a cigar right in my door. Cigar yourself, man. Go hit the cigar yourself, man.
Still think it was still tucked away, and I just couldn't feel it. If you really want to know the truth, but I wasn't trying to go any further than I did.
I think you went pretty far at making you aware of that.
Trying to get a good cop off the street, and you guys are entertaining it. At the end of the day, that's what it is.
Well, I have to entertain every complaint, and to be honest with you,
that's why I even told him to go and file a complaint. But if you listen to the video, he consents to whatever I'm going to do. Just get it over with so I can leave. If you listen to it, just go ahead.
But that doesn't make it okay.
Okay. Even Sergeant Moon said this was going to be nothing.
Why would he say that?
I don't know. Ask him.
Okay. Justified for you to conduct that search. If it was more than marijuana.
How is that? I don't understand how using the blade of my hand.
Well, take the blade out. You stuck your hand in his private area.
Right. And I
search.
told you that's where they hide it.
That's a violation of your.
Okay. So I admit to a violation. I know what happened there because I was there. And you guys can look at the video all day long and say this and say that. I know what truly happened. Was that justified? I feel like it was. And it may not meet the.
No accountability. This cop don't want to be held accountable for nothing that he did. He violated this man's rights. He pulled this man over. At first, the initial stop was for tent. And then the young brother had a black and mild that he don't even know the difference between the smell of a black and mild and the smell of weed. So he's searching the brother and he sexually assaulted the brother. Peace to my brother Bronx Flat Power Guy. Salute to you, good brother. Peace to my brother Keith West. Thanks for coming through.
The mold of the policy here, but I feel like it was, and I've made arrests and I've found drugs. I found a lot of drugs doing that same method.
Do you know this gentleman could file a federal lawsuit against you?
Now, this video is going back and forth to the deposition and the actual traffic stop for tent. And what's crazy about some of these police and their cars, their vehicles, to uphold the law, enforce the law, I think the police, and I'm sure everybody share my sentiment, they should be obeying the laws also. The police tent is way too dark. we should be able to see who's in their cars, because there's no telling what some of these midnight marauders do when they're out bored and they fucking with people. So we should be able to see who's in their vehicles also. They should not be able to have tint darker than anybody else who's a motorist. Video courtesy of Real World Police. Fair use.
Check these windows, man. Did I? Yes. Although I didn't smell weed last. Did I smell weed last time too? Did I smell weed again? Oh no, I do now. Much more pronounced. I'm telling you what it is. Roll down the back. I'll do the back too. What do you think the back is? You got a test. Give me your test meter. Test it. You got a test meter you can use? Yeah, they're all different shades, guys. All different shades.
Now from here, I can see through that front window. Usually the back window is always darker than the front windows. I can clearly see through the front window of this vehicle.
Not a debate. All right, fellas. You got anything legal on you, man? All right, man. Somebody else step out, okay? I'm gonna make sure there's no weed in here. But listen, dude, I appreciate honesty. That goes a lot farther. All right. If you got anything in here, tell me now before you step out. What do you think? Come on. I got things to do, right? Do me a favor. Yeah. You smell the black wine. Like you smell the weed. Black suit right now. Let's go. Man, y'all look good.
Keep your hands on the car. Keep your hands on the car.
So what you cuffing me for?
I'm cuffing you because you're not listening to my orders. I'm telling you to do something.
Because you touched my dick.
Right,
that's why. You grabbed my penis. What the fuck I'm supposed to do? You ain't got to do nothing. That ain't how you search nobody. You invader.
This is a weirdo cop. This is a weirdo cop who like touching on brothers sexually.
What's some goddamn on, man? Nothing in the car, right? That ain't nothing in there, man. All right, walk back to my car. One more time to your right. What you put me in the car for? I'm not putting you in the car, man. I'm just trying to protect your privacy, okay? Hey, listen, you can turn this way. From the strip, man. Ain't nothing in there. Got any gloves on you? No, I don't. And listen, when you get done, I need an apology too, man. Real talk.
Straight up violating this man's rights, trying to search him in public, going down his pants. They open a door that has a window. He said because of privacy, he wants him to have privacy. And they're supposed to, if they're going to search his person that far, it's supposed to be at the police station, at the department, not in public on the streets where people are driving past, walking past, and seeing it. And not only that, searching the car and finding nothing wasn't enough for this sexual deviant bastard that he had to go further in his search for weed. Just listen and look, and we're going to see what happens. It's not shocking because They've been doing this for years, so it's not shocking, but it's just disgusting.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I gotta do my job.
Okay. What is it? Qatardi? Okay. I got you.
They always say they have to do their job, and they think their job is to oppress people, and people are supposed to capitulate to them and obey their unlawful request.
I got you. That's crazy. I really want to bother you when you get done. That's crazy, bro.
Just hang out with him and check the car. What do you got here?
That's my neck. I just watched.
All right, put that back.
Man. Go ahead and do what you got to do with you. Come on, put your glove on. Do what you got to do real quick, man. For real, man. You know what?
Take a seat.
I'm staying right here. You told me to stand. I'm gonna stand right here. Ain't got time for this, man. That shit crazy, man. Man grabbing on my dick and shit for no reason. What search is that? Since when did they start that? Huh? Can you tell me that? When did they start that?
Bro, I growing up on these streets, bro.
It don't matter where you
gonna hide
where you gonna
hide your dope, bro. You gonna hide it right in your ball
Since
sack.
when have y'all started grabbing people's dick?
It ain't about grabbing nobody's dick, bro. It's about hiding the shit.
It don't matter. But since when have you started grabbing people's dick, invading their
Ain't
privacy?
nobody trying to do that.
Man, that's what you did.
If you want to go and complain, go complain.
That's what you did.
That's how we do it out here.
He doesn't know how much this is going to cost him.
Man, what is this?
Did he have time to stuff it?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. I'm sure he did. It's just I don't know how far he wanted to push it.
Would you feel it or no?
No, I can't really get in there though, man, without going too. They put it right, under their nuts or up their ass. But I'm not 100% confident that it's there, so I'm not trying. I like to find something.
It's not like weed is a narcotic. So why would somebody do that? Put it in their rectum. Weed. They went looking for weed in the man's rectum. Even if you're blading your hand, if somebody put weed in their rectum, they got away from me. I'm not going out my way to search somebody's ass for nothing.
Something in here before we went that route. I mean, he's smart. He knows.
He's on inmate release status for
I told him over before too, and I told him.
I got no ain't smelling no weed. It's a black and mild sitting right on my door handle, man. That's a poor excuse to search my motherfucking car. I don't even smell like weed. How the hell my car smell like weed? I'll tell you, bro.
Well, he was at 13%, so.
I guess I can go write him a ticket. Huh? So I guess I can go write him a ticket.
How's his license good?
Yeah. Everything else is good. Has he got a fuse box on that side?
No. He's got something open here, but I don't smell anything, so.
I don't smell it anymore. Rot.
You know what that means?
Because it wasn't weed, the young brother was smoking on a black and mild.
Is there a trunk button?
Yeah, I don't smell it anymore either, Dan. Yeah, I hit it already.
You got it.
Not only that, there's no probable cause for them to search his vehicle, especially to this extent. No probable cause, no reasonable, articulable suspicions for none of this.
Put it on him.
Yeah, exactly. So we're just gonna have to go in there. Because I don't smell it anymore in the car.
Are you hearing this? He said we're gonna have to go in there for weed. Not narcotics, but I don't think it's nothing that he can have on him that I would go looking for in there.
It ain't back here. It don't smell back here.
You want me to go in?
I'll go start right.
Nah.
Hey, but honest to God, too, man, that's not 13% tint. Y'all meet the wrong.
It is, bro.
Oh, it ain't, man.
All right, listen, your car doesn't really smell like weed anymore.
I know it don't. It's a black and mild. Oh, but it don't smell like weed anymore after
No, after we took you out and I put you over here, man.
I don't even smell like weed, man. I told you that from the get-go. It's a cigar right in my door. But you can't grab all on my dick and shit talking about it smell like weed, man. Come on now.
Is it weed flavored?
What you mean? Go hit the cigar yourself, man.
Scented?
Go hit the cigar yourself, man. Ain't nothing in there, man.
All right, bro. As long as there ain't, then you just leave him with a ticket.
For what?
Oh, for the tent, man.
Man, listen, I'm telling you, my tent is not 13.
Then go contest.
How about we go to the tent place where I got it done at? They don't even tell you it's not 13.
You got some money in there.
Ain't nothing in there. Probably some change or something. I don't know. Now my car don't smell. What you still searching me for? My car don't smell like weed.
Because you're smelling like weed.
Oh, nah, I smell like weed. How the hell?
You were in your car. I took you out of your car. Your car doesn't smell like weed anymore.
But I smell like weed.
But you smell
that
like
don't make no sense. How?
Back up a little bit.
How? What the hell are you doing? So they allowed to do all this? But my car don't smell like weed, but he's still searching me? What is you doing? Ain't nothing in there. Why? Man, listen, man. See what that's crazy, man. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
They are totally degrading this brother, looking for weed. For weed. They go through all this just to get a fill off a brother. This is totally sexual deviance in a goddamn uniform.
Exactly. Why y'all in my shit, man? What the fuck is wrong with you? There ain't nothing there.
Shut your mouth, okay? I got to search you to make sure there ain't nothing in here. So stop.
Exactly. Come on now. How you like that?
Anything in your ass?
Ain't nothing in there, man. What the fuck wrong with this man, man? I hope your hands smell like ass too when you get done. Really? Go ahead. Stick your finger in there. That's right. Hope your hands smell like straight ass.
That's why I got the glove.
I don't give a fuck. Crazy as fuck, man.
So did you just smoke it? Look at me.
Ain't nobody smoking nothing, man. I told you I smoked the black and mild, man. Exactly what you smelled in the door.
It's not a black and mild.
I ain't gotta argue with you, man. My car don't smell. First, my car smelled like weed, but now it don't.
Yeah, because you're out of it. All right, do me a favor. Sit down. Sit down and kick your shoes. Kick your shoes off, kid.
No, at all, man. Take it off.
Kick them off. Go ahead.
Take it off.
Kick your shoes off.
You gotta have tight. Dude, okay? Take it off, man. You done dug all in
They're
my
not
ass.
tight.
You dug all in my ass, but you can't take your shoe off. Shit. That don't make no sense. Go ahead, take it off. There you go. There you go. I'll take the other one off. You happy?
Yep.
Exactly.
Here. Dude, it's not like I'm trying to catch you with it.
This don't make no sense,
it's just
man.
It's illegal, man.
You don't make no sense, man. You said my car smell like weed, now you say it don't. But then you dig all in my ass and grab my dick and shit. How that sound? That don't make no sense.
I'm doing my job.
You ain't doing your job, man. You ain't doing your job, man.
Yeah.
You ain't doing your job, man. You just illegally searching me. That's what you did.
There's no illegal search here. Well, then go file a complaint then, okay?
Y'all ain't gonna go through.
Oh, they might entertain it.
I ain't got time for that, man. Come on, let's go.
Listen, dude.
He don't know how much this is going to cost him. He just don't know how much it's going to cost him.
It's no disrespect, nothing personal.
It is, man. It is.
Stop.
Listen how you play with that shit.
It's just like I say all the time. When somebody say, with all due respect, they're about to disrespect you. And this man degrade this brother in public. And he said, no respect. What a dirty, savage bastard.
I didn't even pull you.
Listen, it don't matter. It don't matter. So why you let the motherfucker who pulled me search me then? Exactly. Come on, man. But my car ain't.
But not only this son of a bitch is the backup. He was backing that officer up, and he's doing all the searching. He's not even the primary responding officer, and he did this.
Car ain't smell like weed. Oh,
Don't forget your shoes, all right? Here, stand up.
I ain't got time.
You got your
Take them off, man. I got a license, man. What the fuck I look like?
You do. You're right.
Exactly.
You get that. Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience, man.
You straight? It's all good.
Sorry for the inconvenience. He need more than to get fired.
Good, bro. Trust me.
Like I said, man, it's nothing
It's
personal.
all good, man.
It's not you, man.
It's all
It's
good.
these other guys out here, dude. That's all.
It's all good.
Pick them up. Pick them up. Put your belt on.
Nah, you took it loose, didn't you? Shit. Fuck all that, man. I ain't really
So you're gonna walk around with your pants falling off?
I want everybody to see what you did. You took my motherfucking belt.
You go stay. You can stay right by this car here.
That man took the belt loose, grabbed my ass, grabbed my dick, everything. I ain't with that shit, but he ain't fun. First he said, "What car smell like weed?" Nah, it don't smell like that.
Hey, right here. You're not even listening.
Listen, I'm right here where he was.
You're too close. Come stand right here by me. That's right. We did what we had to do. All right.
Now I'm gonna go to the tent place and I'm gonna get a thing showing how much I paid and what percent that is, so it can show you your meter wrong. That's what y'all going around here pulling people, putting some bullshit ass.
See, look how dark your windows.
What's crazy about that is their tent is darker than his. Their tent shouldn't be no darker than his. We should be able to see in their cars also.
Sorry, man. How dark it is? It ain't what your meter said. It ain't what your meter said.
And you're a professional. You know how dark your windows can be.
Put the meter on your tent. How dark is your tent?
We don't want you seen in the car.
But how dark is it?
Okay, I don't know.
Exactly.
I gotta get my tip meter.
Put your meter on there. Let's see what it reads. I just want to see. It might read 13%.
Okay, it might.
See.
I think it's darker than that.
That buffoonery ass tent machine y'all got. That shit ain't no goddamn 13. I took to the tent place and got it done.
So you don't think they?
You think they finna put? I wouldn't even put 13 on there. What the fuck I look like? I got a license. What I'm gonna put 13
So
on?
what'd you tell them to put on there?
Listen, man.
What did you tell them to put on there? Okay, because you can't answer the question. You guys good?
Yeah.
Big facts, brother Keith. Big facts. I would just do what I'm gonna do.
They don't smell like weed.
Whoever you
see, a lot of these cops, they go around, they'll pull people over, they ride around bored, or they just target people, pulling them over, never thinking that one day they're going to do it to the wrong person, just like Dale Holtzclaw over in Oklahoma when he was pulling over sisters in his patrol car and raping them. And he did that to the wrong sister, and just her pressing charges had everybody else pressing charges, and this ass ended up getting damn near 300 years in prison.
Whatever you had in there, either you just got done smoking it.
Smell like weed. It's a black and mild on the road. Wet smell. He sat here and said it didn't smell like weed. He walked right up to me. Oh, your car doesn't smell like weed now. After you done ran through my shit.
What's it fix it? It's 6610, right?
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know.
Y'all be acting the same way I'm acting with DMV to go project. That shit ain't cool at all, man. I ain't never in my life been searched.
White
like that,
police
man.
officers should be patrolling their own scenes where their own people at. They shouldn't be
Never
around
in my
us.
life have I been searched like that. Since when do they do that? You tell me. Never in my life, man. You go to prison, they don't even do that shit, man. You go to jail, they don't even search you like that. What the fuck get that man the right to do that shit?
The deposition is coming up.
For real.
Internal affairs. They're gonna be ripping his ass.
Ricardo, can you write his name? I need to Google him. I need to look him up.
Google?
Yeah, I need to look him up.
The front windows, you're at 15%. The front windows are illegal. They got to be at 25%.
I understand what you're saying.
Listen. I'm explaining to you the ticket. The front windows have to be 25%. It's at 15%. Your back windows are legal. Your front windows are illegal. This is a fix-it ticket. Take care of it within 30 days. Go get it fixed. Otherwise, it's like a $160 ticket for each window.
I appreciate that.
Just go get it fixed, get this signed, take care of it within 30 days. All right.
Man, that wasn't called for, man. You said right. You even heard him out your own mouth. He said after he came up to me and said, "Your car don't smell like weed." And what this man stuck his finger in my ass. That ain't.
You sign right here for me.
What's his name?
Katardi.
Katardi. What? What's his first name? I need his first name so I can.
That's right, Brother Keith. The Fifth Amendment. You have the right to remain silent. Don't talk to them.
This is Commander DeVal, Cocoa Police Department. Today's date is...
This is a deposition. When the internal affairs is set the precedence to terminate this officer, Rock Contardi.
May 20th. I got a new watch. So 2019. Time is 3:24 p.m. This is regards to IA 19-10-IA. Present in the room is Officer Rock Contardi, along with his representation, Al Betcha from PBA. Rock, will you raise your right hand? Do you swear the statement you just provided, or you will provide, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
All these damn cops in Cocoa, wherever damn Cocoa Police Department.
Prior to going on tape, I had you read and sign your Garrity warning. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions regarding that?
No, sir.
You also had an opportunity to go through all the evidence that I have here.
Yes.
You have any questions for that?
No.
Okay. All right, Rock.
When you get to a specific issue, please reference the documentation that you provided us so that he can be clear about his answer.
Okay. On March 12, 2019, a Marvin Passawi responded to the police department and spoke to Sergeant Moon in regards to a traffic stop involving you, Officer Rhodes, and Officer Baez. Are you familiar with that stop?
I am.
All right. His allegation is that he was stopped for the tint, and that he was told that the car smelled like marijuana, and he was handcuffed, pulled from the vehicle, and you searched him with gloves on, but stuck your finger in his rectum, and also searched down his pants looking for any type of narcotics, which evidently you did not find any. Is that you aware of his complaint?
I am aware of it.
Okay. Can you tell me, in your words, your involvement with the traffic stop?
I responded to back up Officer Rose on a traffic stop. During the course of the investigation, Officer Rose notified me that the car smelled like marijuana.
Mind you, this cop is the backup. He's not the primary. He's the backup.
And that was upon my initial arrival. Upon my contact with the driver, Mr. Marvin, I did detect a strong distinct odor of marijuana emitting from inside the vehicle. I inquired to Mr. Marvin if there was anything illegal inside the vehicle, such as drugs, and he informed me there was not.
And he was telling the truth when he said it was not. You searched him, violated his rights, and didn't find a damn thing.
Asked him to step out of the vehicle, at which time I conducted a pat down of his pockets, exterior portion. Mr. Marvin began to disobey my commands of keeping his hands on the vehicle. Became fidgety.
What man would not become fidgety when a man is touching him in his privates? I would tense up and become fidgety also.
Officer safety purposes, I didn't know what Mr. Marvin's, what his actions might have been. So for officer safety purposes, I detained him with handcuffs in order to properly conduct a pat down of his clothing. At which point, nothing was found inside outside his pockets or anything. I brought him back to my vehicle, at which time Officer Baez stayed present with him, and at which time Officer Rose and I began a search of the vehicle for the marijuana that we were smelling.
Okay. So when you're searching him, when you first take him out of the car, he basically says you're touching his dick, you're looking in his dick, and that's why he's flinching. Did you conduct a search under his, manipulate his scrotum area outside the pants?
There was no manipulation. I just used my hands went inside his pockets, did not touch any private area at the time because I was still,
This is outright weird for a cop to do this. This is weird. And he wondering why he's at the internal affairs in a deposition when he did all this because he was looking for weed.
Unaware where the possible drugs could have been, whether they're on him concealed or they're inside the vehicle. He was very close to the vehicle, and so I was smelling the marijuana, so I wasn't sure if it was coming from him or the vehicle, which is why I separated him from the vehicle.
Okay. Now, your body cam footage, when it comes on, you're well into the search. How come, per policy, you didn't have your body cam on prior to arriving?
Sometimes I forget to turn it on right away.
Okay. So you searched
Incompetent fuck.
the vehicle, and during the search, you're discussing with Officer Rhodes about whether he could have put it down his pants. You believe it was down his pants, and you don't want to have to go in and get it. What were you referring to? It's been my experience through the contact that I've had in the past encounters with several subjects. A lot of the time, the drugs and the illegal narcotics are not going to be in plain view. When you go up to a car and you smell weed, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to say, here, officer, here's the drugs. It takes investigation, and you have to go through, it's a process. Mm-hmm. So Officer Rhodes and I were just, conversating about where the drugs could possibly be. Because of how he acted when I went to do that pat down and that preliminary search indicated to me that there may be something hidden in there. Because when I did go around his pockets, he began to flinch, which is why I had to detain him. And past experiences, when people become fidgety like that and agitated and aggressive, a lot of the time they are hiding something. And that was my interpretation of it, that he was hiding something. And I was just confirming with Officer Rose that he also did smell the marijuana. And it was a possibility that it was on him. And it may not have been in the car. It was a strong possibility that was my interpretation, that through my experiences as a cop here in the Cocoa Police Department, the past 5 years, people that use drugs, people that know the streets and have contact with police and have arrest records like this guy, they know where to hide it, where we're not going to go.
CIA is trying to pass the buck and incriminate the victim because he had, past police encounters and probably, was arrested before. He don't want no accountability. He violated this man's rights and don't want to be held accountable.
Well, there's a reason why they hide it there.
Because most of the time we're not going to go there.
Well, most of the time you can't go there.
And most of the time we don't go there.
Right. So that's why they hide it there. Mm-hmm. So based on what you have here, what makes you go to the next level at this point?
The next level, based on my experiences in the past, enhanced it from the search of the car to the search of his pockets to checking underneath the undergarments.
Okay.
And then doing the hand sweep of the blade, using the blade of your hand to do the buttocks. Based on my experiences, if they're going to hide it there, that's how you would check. That's how you would check with the blade of your hand underneath the pants and the undergarments, because it'll be tucked. It'll be tucked in an area that you're not going to feel through just a search. You're not going to feel it there. It's going to be tucked. It's going to be tucked there. And you're going to you kind of got to go a little bit in there, and you got to extend a little bit just to make sure it's not there. I did not grope, fondle, or anything like that. It was.
Well, you went in there a little bit further than a little bit. I mean, you can physically see you moving his penis to the side to get to the other side.
In order to feel it, in order to possibly locate something that I believed, based on my experiences, was there.
But you were wrong. He had nothing. Based on your experience, he had nothing.
It wasn't, and that's when I used the blade in my hand to do his rear end, because that's oftentimes where they hide it also. Those two spots are very common, and if you look at my arrest record, you're going to see, when people clench, when they clench their buttocks, they're clenching for a reason. You just don't do that, when
they do that for a reason. The reason is a man has his hands near his ass. I don't understand how he don't get that.
Clench it. They may be hiding stuff there. I've had arrests where things have been hidden there. I've had arrests where things have been hidden, in that private area in front. And that's just based on my experiences as a street level cop in the city of Cocoa in my beat, which is Zone 1, which is heavily influenced with narcotics, possessions and dealings.
Did you stick your finger in his rectum when you were searching?
No, sir.
Okay. Yes, Al.
Have you ever had contact with Mr. Marvin prior to that incident?
Yes, I have.
What was that incident?
Traffic stop.
Did you issue him a ticket?
No.
Okay. So it was just a traffic stop?
It was a traffic stop on Pineda Street. I would say maybe a month or two prior to this. When you watch my video, we reference.
So this is a clear indication that he targeted this brother. Clear indication.
Because he says, I remember you. And it took me a minute. And then I remembered him. I pulled him over. I believe it was a tag light. Approached the car, smelled the weed. No, officer. I asked him, do you have anything illegal inside the vehicle? Same MO. No. He didn't give me as much of a problem as he did this time. Even though I still got him out of the car. I patted him, and I wasn't, based on that, because of the friendliness, I gave him a verbal warning.
So did you go to that extent that time as you did on this one?
No, I didn't.
What was the difference?
The difference was this was my second encounter. The marijuana smell was much stronger on his person this time, as opposed to my first encounter with him, where I felt like the smell was coming from inside the vehicle a little bit more at that time. And I did search the vehicle, not an extensive search like we did this one. It was more, I would say the stop was probably a quarter, if not the half or maybe a quarter of the time.
If you don't know the difference between a black and mild smoke and marijuana smoke, as a grown-ass man and a police officer, you need to not even come out the house, let alone not be a cop.
That this one was. It wasn't a long investigation at all.
So you feel that the search you conducted on Mr. Passawi was just, in your mind, looking for narcotics?
Based on the totality of the circumstances, I'm going to say I went a little too far.
Okay. A little too far, or?
Yeah, I believe I searching him. I didn't, when I look at it, it's marijuana. Really, I mean, to dig like that for marijuana. No, there doesn't have to be a reason for that.
Well, and it's a good reason to bring up the other one. I'm going to move to that traffic stop now where you stopped the young man with the marijuana. Mm-hmm. We watched the video of that. And in that video, you ask him about the marijuana, and he actually comes up with it and hands it to you. Mm-hmm. You're willing to throw, or what'd you do with that marijuana?
It was discarded.
How?
I threw it out.
Just in the garbage?
In a dumpster.
Okay. So why didn't you just drop that into evidence?
I should have.
Destroy. Okay.
I never got around to it. I should have.
So it's not a big deal on that traffic stop with the kid, the marijuana. Why did it go to such an extreme with Mr. Passaway with marijuana?
Because with the kid on that stop, he was upfront and honest. And if you look at,
he was upfront and honest also. You just didn't believe him, and you just violated his rights. He was upfront because when you searched him, he didn't have anything.
I don't arrest everybody that I come across with drugs. And I'll tell them, if you watch a lot of my videos when I deal with these people, if you're up
Salute, Black Wild Indian. Salute. Thanks for coming through.
Front and you're honest with me.
Respect the Doe Eyes TV. Thanks for coming through.
9 times out of 10, I'm going to let you go with the verbal warning. It's when you, and I'll say this, is when you make me work. It's when I've had contact with you before and I've arrested you for things, or, I have an indication of you may be hiding something, or you're in possession of something and you're being dishonest. That's when I look to pursue it a little farther, as opposed to honesty and being straight with me, making my job a little easier,
right?
So I can get those drugs off the street.
No, and I get it. Everybody says that, but I mean, you met with people lie to you all the time. That's what they do. They lie to the police.
That's one of the hardest things for me to deal with is people lying to me.
Right.
Because I take it a little too personally. And that's something I have to do a better job with. And I've said that before, and I still say it, and that's just something I got to work on.
Okay. So back to the traffic stop with Officer Rhodes. How many times have you conducted a traffic stop in that same manner, thought the drugs were there or smelled the drugs were there, and conducted the same type of search?
You referring to initially or the latter search?
The latter search. I mean, basically the strip search, if you will, because Officer Baez said he's been with you 4 times when you've done that, and he actually didn't even know it was a violation of policy until this incident is what he...
See, this is an indication that he has a pattern of violating people's rights, pulling people's pants down in the middle of the damn street, searching them.
What he testified to.
Mm-hmm.
So did you do it those 4 times or more than 4 times?
All circumstances are different. It's not going to happen the same every time. You know, well, one of them that Baez was on with me is, you know, I brought the guy out of the car, went to searching him. I did the blade in my hand in his buttocks. He clinched up. He clinched hard. And then he started yelling and shouting. And then what I felt when I did the hand of my blade was something hard, and a hard object in there. And sure enough, he had a big bag of big bag of crack. I think it was maybe 15, 20 grams of crack cocaine. Passenger had the same exact thing. And I found that later. He had a warrant. And I found that later at the PD. He did the same exact thing. And he had time. So the circumstances are always different. Do they have time to do it? You know, what's his arrest record like? You know, how is he acting? These are all things that as a street level cop, I learned to realize and understand. And that's how their behavior and their actions is how I do my job. I go off of them.
But policy has restrictions on when you...
He just totally ignored departmental policy. You have to have reasonable, articulable suspicion. That means you have to articulate and tell the people who you are encountering your suspicion, and it has to be reasonable. Just because you articulate suspicion, it had to be reasonable, articulable suspicion. He didn't have any of it. He stopped them initially for tent, and then he had been smoking a black and mild. They don't know a black and mild smoke from marijuana smoke, and they did all this to the brother, and it's going to cost them.
And you can do that and when you can't, not just what the atmosphere is at the time.
Okay.
On that note, were you aware of the agency's policy as it's written?
Probably not as clear cut as I should have been.
Did you read it? Because you signed for it. You signed for the policy back in 2017.
See, that's the thing. They sign for the policy in which they're supposed to study and adhere to. So they sign for the policy, but they violate the policy. Why? Because once they get on the job, they can care less about what the policy is, departmental or otherwise. They just get out on the streets after 6 months of training, deal with life and death situations, and think they know it all. Once they put that badge on and that gun on, especially, they transform. And they have this perceived power which make them corrupt.
For that specific policy with searches.
We agree, it's there, he signed off.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, July 10th, 2017. And are you aware what the policy said in regards to strip searches is basically what you conducted?
I am now. It was my impression at the time it wasn't a strip search. When I think of strip search, I think of bringing him back to the PD, taking his clothes off when something is too far from my grasp. You know, if they hide something, it's not going to be too far from my grasp right away. And at the same time, you got to think about, well, if they put it in their anal cavity like that and it gets lodged up in there, it could be a health issue. You know?
Well, that's why we have procedures.
Like he give one damn about this young brother's health and his well-being. Stop it.
Procedures and policy for things like that. I mean, it goes on to cavity searches if we're concerned about something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the policy is there to protect you and the citizens of illegal searches. Okay. And perfectly in this situation, I get that other people, there was drugs found on him, but there was no drugs found on him.
But it
So-
wasn't a problem then. Why is it a problem now? Because I didn't find anything and because he made a complaint on me?
Well, it's because it's a violation of law and policy.
Then why wasn't this addressed when that was going on?
I don't know why it was addressed. I mean, this is the first that we've gotten a complaint about it.
Okay.
And, you know, put yourself in that. If that was your son or your daughter and they just dropped off a friend who smoked marijuana
Listen to his response to this statement.
in the car, and an officer pulls up and they smell the marijuana and they thinking what you're thinking, and they pull him out and they search him the way you searched him in a parking lot with people walking around. How do you think you'd feel about the officer doing that to your child?
Well, this isn't my child. This wasn't an upstanding citizen. This was a guy that smokes weed, that gets arrested for crack cocaine possession, that goes to jail.
So you're telling me because a man or a woman who smoke weed, that means they're a bad person? That you can't smoke weed and be an upstanding citizen or upstanding person? This guy don't belong in a society at all. And because he has a prior record, it doesn't make him a criminal.
That comes and wants to get a good cop off the street and file a complaint. That's what this guy is. That's what this kind of person is.
Yeah, but we can't take somebody's past and use it against them for anything future. I mean, what if this guy has, you know, he found Jesus and he's come clean and he's trying to get his life
So why
straight.
does he smell like weed now?
Maybe somebody was in the car.
Why didn't he say that? Did he say that during
Well,
the
he doesn't have to
investigation?
say it.
Well, then why wouldn't he dispel my fear that officer,
He doesn't have
I just
to
dropped
say
my
it.
friend off. He was just smoking weed. Maybe it would.
But he doesn't have to tell you that. Do you know what the Fifth Amendment is? Do you know what that is?
Exactly.
It's a right to not incriminate yourself. So during a traffic stop, I don't have to say a word to you.
Okay. Well, he was saying how it was the black and mild smelling.
He didn't have to. What I'm saying is he didn't have to say a word.
Okay.
He didn't even have to talk to you. Here's my license, and that's the extent of it.
Okay.
And then you have to investigate the call.
And I did investigate it.
Right, but you're investigating it. You just testified that you investigated based on his past. You felt like it was
just
worth.
his past. It was everything going on. It wasn't just his past. I told you. It's the totality of the circumstance.
Let me tell you, it's some people in internal affairs on departments, rank and file, captains, lieutenants, chiefs, that would have swept this under the rug. But it's some officers who not going to risk their job for another cop who's out here doing fuck shit. This internal affairs officer is doing his job and asking all the questions in this deposition and holding him accountable for everything he did. Just keep listening.
It's not just people's past. It's their actions and behaviors while I'm on scene with them, during my contact with them, is how I go about my job. And I felt strongly that it was hidden inside his pants, somewhere and concealed, either under his private area or concealed in his buttocks. Based on my experiences as a cop here, that's where they hide the drugs, and that's why I did what I did.
And you feel it's justified to do that.
He said based on his experience. That means he goes around sticking his hand in people's behind, looking for stuff. He's a damn sexual deviant who shouldn't be in the public.
That type of search to get the drugs.
For marijuana, no. For the smell of marijuana, no. Did I do too much? Was I trying to do too much because of maybe I didn't want this guy getting away with this? Yeah.
So what if you found crack in his ass? Is it justified?
If I found crack?
Yeah. Do you feel like it's justified for you to conduct that search if it was more than marijuana?
How is that I don't understand how using the blade of my hand on his butt, I don't understand how that's a search.
Well, take the blade out. You stuck your hand in his private area,
right? And I told you that's where they hide it.
That's a violation of your.
Okay, so I admit to a violation.
Well, what I'm trying to get is your peace of mind when it comes to searching people, whether you think it's right or wrong, and if there's a line you cross. I think you see the means justify the ends if you are able to get the narcotics or the gun or whatever it is at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But there's laws that protect people in this country that prevent you from allowing you to do that without probable cause.
I feel like I had probable cause.
Just
Or at
because you
least
smelled marijuana.
Reasonable suspicion on his behavior, on his actions, his attitude.
But you can't go off of that.
That's what I went off of.
You smelled marijuana.
Such a fucking dummy.
And based on that marijuana smell, you felt like it was justified to strip search him in a parking lot.
I do not feel like I strip searched him.
Well, per our policy, you did. And actually, our policy mimics state statute. So that same wording in our policy is taken straight from state statute.
Okay. I don't see how checking underneath his private area and then using the blade of my hand on his buttocks, I don't understand how that's a strip search.
He don't see anything of wrongdoing on his part. He don't think he did anything wrong.
I don't.
Because it's not that you felt a gun and you were trying to do it for officer safety. You're smelling marijuana.
I was looking for marijuana.
And it wasn't there.
Right. It wasn't there.
Right. So everything you did to this guy was not just. Go ahead, Al.
At the times that you conducted this search or anything similar to it, did you understand your agency's policy, which mirrors Florida state statute?
No, sir.
When do you feel that it's justified to search a person for whatever reason?
When you're arresting him?
So that's perfect on this one. He wasn't even arrested.
Right.
That's where our policy starts.
Right.
Is,
searching. What do you talk? Do you mean strip search?
I'm talking about any search. You're saying you're able to, or you feel you're justified in searching anyone if you think you have enough to do it, whether it be you smell it, their attitude, or their past history.
I don't feel like that was a full-blown search.
Well, what's missing?
I got news for you. I think it was still tucked. I still think it was still tucked away, and I just couldn't feel it. If you really want to know the truth, but I wasn't trying to get. I wasn't.
No accountability all the way to the very end. He said he still thought the brother had something on him after all that.
Trying to go any further than I did.
I think you went pretty far. I think if there was anything in there, especially the amount you're smelling.
No, I didn't. The video, yeah, you can look at the video all day long. I know what happened. I know what happened there because I was there. And you guys can look at the video all day long and say this and say that. I know what truly happened. Was that justified? I feel like it was. And it may not meet the mold of the policy here, but I feel like it was. And I've made arrests and I've found drugs. I found a lot of drugs doing that same method.
Do you know this gentleman could file a federal lawsuit against you for unlawful search and seizure? Are you aware of that?
I mean, you could sue anybody for anything these days. So,
well,
if he feels like he really needs to,
well, I don't know.
Which, according to you, he hasn't done anything, and a lot of people are all talk, right?
I get it. I'm just making you aware of that.
He's trying to get a good cop off the street, and you guys are entertaining it. At the end of the day, that's what it is.
Well, I have to entertain every complaint.
He called himself a good cop. Said this guy's just trying to get a good cop off the street.
And to be honest with you,
that's why I even told him to go and file a complaint.
Right.
That's why Bias told him, if you have a complaint, go file it. But if you listen to the video, he consents to whatever I'm going to do. Just get it over with so I can leave. If you listen to it, just go ahead.
But that doesn't make it okay.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right. I'm not going to argue with you.
Well, I'm just trying to get your state of mind at the time.
My state of mind was he was hiding something, and this was probably the second time. And based on his history, based on his actions that day, based on the totality of the circumstance of everything going on, the heavy smell of weed that was inside the car, we took him out, then it was coming from him. I felt like it was concealed on his person based on my experiences in the past with the arrests that I've made and the contact that I've had with people.
Okay. How come you didn't complete a report on that call, that you searched him and backed up Officer Rhodes or anything?
I don't think Officer Rhodes even wrote a report.
No, he didn't. He gave him a ticket.
Okay. You don't write reports on just.
To add insult to injury, he didn't even write a report. To add insult to injury, after all that, no report. Keep listening. It gets worse.
Tickets, right?
Well, it was a little bit more than just a ticket. I mean, that's why we're here, are we not?
it was just a ticket, then it became a complaint, and then you guys put me on suspension. So I don't know when I was supposed to do a report.
Well,
And then even Sergeant Moon said this was going to be nothing.
why would he
So
say
it's
that?
gonna be- I don't know. Ask him.
He said that because he's used to rank and file covering for the subordinate officers. They're used to being cover-ups, but not this time.
Okay. All
He
right.
said he was going to he didn't know how he was going to explain it, but I said, you think this is going to be an IA? He said, I don't think so.
Well, he testified that he spoke to you in the past about going past or going up to the line, going past it.
And yeah.
And he actually talked about this after
We had a conversation.
Okay, so
about not just this, about everything going on.
Right.
You know, because I feel like he was.
No, the sergeant was telling you that your behavior is unbecoming of an officer and you need to cut your shit out before you jam yourself up, and you didn't heed that, and here we are at Internal Affairs in a deposition for your termination.
Maybe concerned about what might be going on in my personal life and things like that, how it may be affecting my job. And yeah, things weigh on me. This really had nothing to do with, this was Rock, the police officer, trying to get drugs off the streets and trying to clean up the streets. That's what this was.
I get that, and that's what we should do. But there's rules and regulations and policies and laws that we have to follow to get there.
I agree.
And unfortunately, the bad guy doesn't have to follow those policies. So
I agree.
That's why they put him in the places where they know you can't or shouldn't go. So I mean, that's the struggles we have every day.
Let's move.
So after you were suspended, they took your vehicle, your patrol vehicle, and Lieutenant Delator did a search of your vehicle to inventory. And in the car, you saw the photos. There was.
Do it by each one.
So I'll just. Well, the first one is the bullets or rounds in the door. The second one is just shown.
You want a response on that?
Those rounds are for my firearm.
Okay, so just extra ammo?
Yes.
Okay. And the second one is just a cup in the console, and I think he's taking it for an overall.
Look at the picture of this thing.
That's an air freshener cup. What's her name? One of the girls gave it to me in dispatch. It's for air fresheners to make your car smell better.
Okay, so he's just taking an overall shot of your car.
Right. That's what that is.
And that's the entire interior of your patrol car?
It appears so.
Okay. And under that cup, he found some money and a plastic bag that appears to be cocaine or meth or something.
Yeah, it was.
What was it?
It was probably cocaine.
Do you remember where you got it from?
Yeah, I got it from Provost Park.
Now, he kept evidence in his patrol car. Money and evidence in his patrol car. Why wasn't that put in evidence? This guy is storing evidence into his patrol car. I really think that this guy was planting drugs on people. That's why he didn't write a report, and that's why he kept it in the patrol car, because he probably was planting drugs on people.
Me and Houghton checked out with the group at Provost Park, about 4 or 5 of them, and one of them had a gun on him, and we were looking around and standing right next on the ground, standing right next to another guy was 3 bags of that crap.
So you just picked it up?
Yeah, I had to do it. I tried, I talked to the guy, I interviewed the guy. He wasn't claiming ownership of it, even though I knew it was his. So I just let him go, and I was going to drop that in evidence. I just never got around to it, but I should have.
He never got around to dropping a narcotic into evidence. He never got around to it. He is so incompetent.
What happened to the other 2 bags?
There's one there.
That's it.
Then the other 2 were discarded.
And then this picture is between.
Either he planted it or he did those drugs his damn self.
Between the seat and the back shield, I guess, between the driver's seat and between that and the back seat is crack cocaine in a plastic baggie.
Okay.
Where did this come from?
Honestly, I don't even. I mean, that I don't even know that was there, to be honest. Where it was behind my seat?
It's behind the passenger seat.
So I'm in the driver's seat, he's in the passenger seat. It's here?
Yeah,
It's
behind,
behind you.
between the
So it could have
shield.
fell, or it could have been,
Shield, yeah.
how long could it have been there? It could have been there for a while.
Yeah, I don't know how long.
Right, I don't know.
Okay.
So the question I would ask you is, did you ever search that area and see?
No.
that?
The large plastic bag contained several white rock substance under the passenger seat. So that's where that was, passenger seat. Under the
This guy was making bust and not even turning it into evidence. He has a carload of drugs driving around, probably doing the drugs, probably planting the drugs on people. I'm surprised he don't have a firearm in there and was doing like Baltimore, Maryland was doing. Their police department was planting guns on people, jamming people up.
the passenger seat.
Okay.
And in the trunk was a plastic bag with a $10 bill and a credit card.
I think that was a counterfeit bill, and that was maybe a credit card that it just found on the ground. It should have been dropped in evidence.
So and also speaking of the evidence, in your mailbox was located driver's license.
Yeah, that stuff all had to go back to the DHSMV. I just hadn't placed it in evidence yet.
And the tag?
Correct. All three.
But these was from 2018 cases.
Yeah, it was sitting in I had a bunch of stuff in my mail.
2018 cases. Now, this deposition was done in 2019. He had evidence and stuff in his vehicle and in his mailbox from a year prior. He's ridiculous.
Mailbox that I had to clean up.
Do you drop any evidence that?
I drop plenty of evidence. Yes, I always drop evidence most of the time.
So do you drop evidence that isn't a criminal case? It kind of seems like when it's not a criminal case or you have charges pending that you don't really.
Peace to my brother, Big Dog, Philly OG. Salute to you, good brother. Thanks for coming through.
Worry about
when I
dropping
take
in
it as
evidence.
found property, if I drop it in evidence, I drop it. If I don't, then I'll discard it. But those occasions are the only times that I haven't dropped it in the property is those times, which is why they were found.
Right. But don't you feel like evidence is a huge part of what we do and to protect the chain of custody and I mean, you got to testify for this stuff in court. So if I was a defense attorney and I got a hold of this, I'd say, Officer Contardi, do you have a habit of not worrying about evidence and leaving it in your car?
It's not a habit. It's not a habit. It's just, I do a lot of things. I respond to a lot of calls for service. I write a lot of reports. I don't always get around to dropping found property.
So it's just the found property?
It's all found property.
Okay. And you don't know where the crack was, where you got it, the bag under the passenger?
No, sir. I mean, that could have been something I got found property and it fell there and I forgot about it.
And these were death cases that you worked that I guess you responded to?
Yes, yeah, those were my investigations.
Okay. Here. This incident was an arrest with Jamal Travis with the gun.
Travis Jones, yeah.
Travis Jones. The state non-prossed it because they basically said they wouldn't survive a motion to suppress because there was no body cam video. Is there a reason why you didn't have your body cam?
My battery was dead. Okay. I don't understand how they could so because there's no video?
They don't state why. What was the reasons? But
they said there's no video. That was the reason, no video. Well,
the court will find issues with the detention, and then it says there is no body cam video of it. So I don't know if it's just based on the body cam or something else.
Gotcha.
They didn't explain.
But your explanation is the battery was dead, and you remember?
I believe the battery was dead.
Okay.
This guy has 1,000,001 excuses for his incompetence and his disregard for departmental procedure and the rights of people he encountered.
And this was the traffic stop with the marijuana we already covered.
Right.
I know you said you threw out the marijuana, but you even put on your call that you found property. So was your intentions to
Yes.
drop the marijuana?
My intentions were to drop it, yes.
Okay, but
I just never got around. It was early.
He drives around with a patrol car full of evidence that he never got around to presenting into evidence.
Early in the shift, I should have, but I got to the station and there were, I got caught up in my reports, and then you start talking with people, and then it's the end of the shift. And
what reports? You don't even write reports. You didn't even write a report to the deposition that you're being interviewed about.
And I went home, and here we go. I just tossed it.
okay. Officer Moon said when you had your taser download every month or yearly or quarterly, they do taser downloads to get the report. She stated that when she did your taser download, you didn't have any cartridges in your taser. You were out of cartridges, basically. You had an empty taser, and you were a little shocked that there was no cartridges in there.
No, I think there was one missing.
Peace in the groove. Peace. Thanks for coming through.
Okay, but I couldn't find any usages for a taser.
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened with that?
I think maybe it was just one drop down.
Okay. Okay.
I was weirded out that there was only one in there.
Right. Yeah.
Which had to have been recent, because I check the thing once every week.
Well, and that's why I said I looked at your response to resistance, and I didn't see any dealing with a
I'll do the
taser.
spark test once a week, so it had to have been fairly recent that I might have lost one.
Okay.
You probably paid somebody with it and report it.
And you were hired back in what, 2012 initially?
I was hired initially in 2012.
Okay, so when I looked at your body cam videos, they're all there every day, labeled, CR numbers, everything. You came back in April of 2017. 90% of your body cam videos are not labeled. They're not scheduled for evidence. You can see a significant difference from the time you left and then the time you came back. Didn't know if there was anything significant about that.
I think when I came back, I started doing a lot more. I started writing more reports. I started arresting more people. And it was, to keep up with everything is difficult. It's a challenge for me, because I don't only have this job. I got things going on at home too. So I don't always get around to doing things that I should. And sometimes it takes me a little longer to go through the videos, to sit there and watch all my videos, because talk to Sergeant Moon, talk to Sergeant Rush and Corporal Toulier. I respond to almost every call we have, either as a primary or a backup. I try to go and assist my guys.
No, I get it.
See, this guy responded as a backup to this case in question, and he jammed himself up to the point that he got terminated. Now, it's evident that he has a pattern of superseding the chain of command. He'll pull up to your stop or your call and take over. And they caught up with him.
Get it.
Right. So I have a lot.
But then something's gotta give.
Yeah, I got to do a better job of keeping up with that. I don't have it on my phone. I have
Peace to my brother, Key Norfolk. Peace and power, brother. Peace, good brother.
an old phone that I can't even get this evidence.com on. So every time I got to sit there and go through all and watch them all, and then go back and find the CR number. So if you don't keep up with it every night you got to do it. If you don't do it, then one night becomes two, and then you look at how many you have for two. Oh, I got 55 videos I gotta watch, and then you get through a quarter of them, and then you can't really do anymore.
Because if I asked you to find a video right now on a specific call, you're not doing it without looking at every video.
That's what I mean. So to get,
That's why he asked you about the videos, through me to look at the videos.
And I did look at the videos, and there was nothing.
The one from Provost Park?
No, I didn't see that one. But he asked me to look a day before, the day of, and the day after.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think, because let's see, that was You talking about the stop? When was the stop? When was that? The marijuana?
With the marijuana?
Yeah, when was that?
That was
Because I feel like I got those
March 12th.
those 3 bags of cocaine.
Oh no, you're talking about the
couldn't have been
kid.
March 12th.
You're talking about the marijuana.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, the one with the white kid. Well, whatever. But I think I got those bags of cocaine that week on Provost Park, and I didn't drop the property, so to write the report.
This is February 13th.
Okay, it's February, and it was a missing report that I didn't do.
Right. Actually, when you were on suspension, Sergeant Moon came.
I got the email before you guys cut off my email. I got the email, and I called Penny and I said, "Listen, I'm out right now, but I know that report's going to be missing. And it's something I got to do. It's a found property report."
Right. And it wouldn't have been a problem until I couldn't.
All this stuff he had in his patrol car, he was supposed to turn into evidence. He said it was found property. I don't believe it was found property. I believe it was property that he took off somebody he encountered. He didn't write a report. He didn't submit it into evidence. He probably was doing the drugs or planting the drugs on people.
Couldn't find the found property.
Right.
I mean, okay. I mean, I get your answers on why you're not doing the paperwork and dropping the evidence.
No, there's no justification.
Right.
I got to do the paperwork. I got to drop the evidence. That's the bottom line.
Okay.
That's the bottom line.
All right. You have anything you want to add?
Do you understand at this point in time, after reviewing all of this today, the proper procedures that you must adhere to as it applies to searches of
To keep my
persons?
job, yes.
Yes.
To keep my job, yes. I understand that now. To keep my job.
You say understand that now to keep his job. He signed to receive the policy of the police department. And I guarantee you, he didn't even open the pamphlet to look at the policy. He don't know the policy. It's obvious because he went around violating people's rights. And I think most police departments, most officers, when they receive their policy, they have to sign for them. And I guarantee you, most of them don't even skim through the policy, because you see them violating departmental policies day and night.
I like this job. I feel like I help the community. Everybody out here knows who I am.
I know. I mean, you're a proactive officer. I get it.
And it's just not being about proactive. It's about, people, and this is what gets me in trouble. It's the fact that, I care. It's the fact that I care, and I'm not a robot, and I'm never going to be a robot where you just go out, "Oh, sorry, ma'am, I can't help you." Or you need the number of the DV shelter. I don't know, look it up on Google. I go a little farther. It's not just the arrest that I make. A lot of people, know who I am because of the work that I do. Is I go farther than most of these cops. I care a little bit more, and Commander, that gets me in trouble.
Exactly.
Because I care.
Exactly.
Well, I could see that, but as long as you can do that, you can be that guy and be that helpful, and also stay within the boundary and be proactive and get the drugs and get the guns off the street.
I agree with you, and I have to do a better job of evaluating the situation and ask myself, is it worth it?
Right. You might not get them today.
Is it worth it going and getting a little marijuana that guy might be hiding from me? But it wasn't about the marijuana. It's the fact that he was lying to me, and I knew he wasn't. This was the second time he was, and I didn't want to.
See, he goes back to not holding himself accountable. The guy said there was nothing in his vehicle. You searched the vehicle, found nothing. Searched him, violated him sexually, and still found nothing. But he's still insisting that the young brother has something.
That's what they do. They lie to us. That's their job. Our job.
And it's hard for me working in this city for as long as I have. I'm not a Viera cop.
He's been on the force not that long, and he's acting like he's some street cop in uniform. He's wearing the costume, but he's acting like he's some tough street cop. But he's going around handcuffing people and violating them sexually. He's a sexual deviant who don't belong in a society. He belong in jail him damn self.
You know, I've been working zone 1 and zone 2. I don't want to work anywhere else. You know, I don't want to go and hide in zone 3.
No, I
go to Walmart and make the theft arrests and sit there all day like some of the guys do. You know, I'm in the thick of things. I'm driving around Peachtree Street, Prospect Ave, Fern Ave, Fisk Boulevard. That's my
looking for shit, driving around looking for shit, targeting people, and it finally caught up to him.
Loop. And I do that probably 100 times a shift. You know, and the people that I deal with, they're not going to be the upstanding citizens that most of these cops deal with. You know, I'm not going to go and hide. I'm not going to be lazy. I'm going to go and do my job and think and do what I feel like I need to do as a good cop here and make a difference. You know, and it's probably going to jam me up if I don't do everything by the book. And that's something that I need to do a better job.
The worst part of this job is paperwork.
Knowing policy.
Very
knowing that I got, okay, if someone runs a stop sign, well, I got 50 videos I got to label. So what am I going to do? You know what I've been doing in the past? I've been stopping that guy. And you know what? I've been getting a gun or I've been getting drugs. And guess what? Those 50 videos the next morning turn into 100 videos that I haven't labeled, but I got that arrest. I'm feeding the beast.
But what you're doing is not. You're getting to the arrest part. They're not doing anything.
Right, I'm getting.
So I mean, yeah, you got a gun off the street, is what you said. However, the guy's on the street now. Maybe he wouldn't have been on the street if you had the video, if you had a good search or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's all for nothing because you're getting that gun off, but they're turning around. I know
exactly what you're saying, but this is one instance. If you talk to Phil Archer, he'll tell you everything you need to know about me. You know, I think he thinks I do a good job. You know, have you talked to Phil Archer?
No, but I think if you watch that video,
Phil Archer, who am I thinking of?
Phil Williams.
Phil Williams.
Yeah.
Right. No, he speaks highly of me. We talk.
But I think if he'd see that video, he'd have issues with
Rock, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
You're doing too much. Rock, you're doing too much. And I agree, I'm doing too much. I don't need to do all that. Maybe I should just need to respond to my calls for service. Maybe I don't have to be proactive.
Or instead of those 2 late calls that you take time to do the paperwork and to label the videos.
Yes, he's been setting people up. Again, he's corrupt to the core, and it finally caught up with him.
Those are they're not the exciting things of the job. However, it's
this guy, if he wasn't taken off the street, probably would have ended up killing somebody or setting somebody up, putting them in prison for the rest of their life, planting guns and drugs on people. He would have ended up doing that to somebody.
The housekeeping that we need to do.
The policy of the job.
Right.
It's how you keep your job. You have to do the little things. And I've just been doing, in my mind, the things that are more important than the little things. But the little things are just as important in keeping your job here. And that was,
if not more, like the evidence to me is, I mean, that's what your whole job is about, is protect the evidence and to testify about it.
It was laziness. You know, it was, you know, it's not what good cops do. And I feel like I'm a good cop, and I need to do a better job of taking care of the little technicality policy things, you know, so this doesn't happen. Like you said, if I wasn't, you know, if I got around to dropping that weed, that would have never came up.
Right.
You know? So it's the little things that are more important.
He came to me and said he didn't have a call, and he said it was a traffic stop. I said, probably not a big deal. I'm not going to worry about it until I actually had to watch it and make sure it wasn't a big deal, and then it became a big deal.
Yeah.
And then it was a rabbit hole. I turn around and there's stuff in your mailbox. Shouldn't be there. I mean, you got a guy, brother came from out of state because he died. You think he'd rather have that driver's license?
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, that's what it is. It's sitting in your box still. We do an inventory in your car, and it's all this drugs in there. I mean, those are the things that ruin cops on the stand. Mm-hmm. It's because of the lack of integrity when it comes to protecting the evidence and dropping it into evidence and
organized.
Right.
But you asked my wife, I'm not a very organized person. And that's another thing that I got to work on, is I'm not really organized. Is look at my trunk, for crying out loud. I just place things, you know, within reach. So I don't have to dig for it. So I know exactly where it is. And, you know, my ass, my spray, my tint meter, my ticket writer or the ticket book. I know where all that, the statute book, I know where it is. It may be messy, but I know where it's at, you know, and I knew those things were in there. I just had to take care of it. And I had to take care of it and I didn't. That's the bottom line. So.
Okay. Al, you got anything to add?
No, I think we covered all the ground.
All right, raise your right hand for me. Swear the statement just provided is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, that's going to conclude the interview. The time now is 4:06 p.m. Then he says to you, do you want me to go get it? But you don't say anything. Do you answer him?
No.
You don't say anything to him?
I don't even know if I actually heard that.
Okay.
You know.
You mean you didn't hear it at that time?
Correct.
But you heard it on.
I heard it on the video. Yes.
Okay. So when he goes back and he goes to search him further, are you aware what kind of search he's doing?
No.
You have to have a specific reason as to why you do what you do. You just can't willy-nilly do it.
Well, this was on a non-moving traffic infraction.
Exactly.
I know.
Tint.
He was parked. Now, this guy was terminated from the Cocoa, Florida Police Department for violating his brother's rights. But in his mind, he was being targeted because he was being held accountable for his transgression against a so-called citizen of Cocoa, Florida. The brother was parked. It was a non-moving situation. He wasn't even moving. He was parked going into the store. They pulled up and they did this to him. 3 cars deep. That means he was targeted. They didn't see him moving in traffic. No, he was parked and he probably seen them going to the store and they targeted him. Searched the car, didn't find anything. And then that wasn't enough. So he decided, as a backup responding officer, not the primary, he decided to take it further, searched him one time, filling on his privates. The brother, tensing up, of course. Man touching you like that, you don't want to be touched like that. Not no normal man. But he decides to take him to his car, open the door up, and then started filling on him even more, and then going into his backside for weed. Not for, I don't care what it is. If you hide it there, you got it away from me. You got it. I'm not going that far. Now, I might search your waistband or your ankle, but when it comes to that, you got that. I didn't find nothing on you if you do it like that. But this guy insisted. He said, I think I need to go in there. And he went in there, and it cost him. It cost him. I hope this information was, informative. I try to bring information and have accountability and expose corruption, because this system, regardless of what entity we mention, is corrupt to the core. All of them, no exceptions. They're all corrupt to the core. Now, what these internal affairs officers did in this deposition is really a breath of fresh air to hear them go at him like that and hold him accountable and then terminate him from the department because of what he did to what he called a non-upstanding citizen. Just because this man may have been arrested, even if he did time, it doesn't give you the right to bother him and victimize him every time you see him. This was not the first encounter that they had. They were familiar with each other. and he just messed with that brother one time too many. And I don't know. They used to be able to transfer to another department. But if he lose his police license, in which he should lose his license to be a cop somewhere else. But a lot of times these cops end up police officers somewhere else, violating somebody else's rights. You know, I'm going to look into that. And if that's the case, I'll bring it to you. Peace to my brother Keith West. Peace. Thank you for coming through. In the groove. I don't know. I'm not going to say brother or sister because I don't know. I don't see a picture. I know Keith, so plus his name's Keith. Better not be a girl named Keith. Peace to Jason Lyrics. Thanks for coming through. Peace to my brother Key Norfolk. Peace to my brother Big Dog Philly OG. Salute, respect to Doe Eyes. Salute, peace to Black Wild Indian. Thanks for coming through. Peace to my brother Bronx Flat Power God. This is The Enemy's Public. I am Bro.Nasir. Like, share, subscribe. Okay. Peace to my brother in the groove. Peace to my brother in the groove. Now I know. So when I see you, peace to my brother in the groove. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section. Peace.
A once gold-driven, ambitious Sapphire turns to the street life after the sudden death of her big brother Dre. Dre's best friend Devontae tries to honor his homeboy's last request of looking out for his baby sister. A rebellious Sapphire makes it very difficult for Devontae to carry out his promise. Author Angela King James presents Fire. Get it on Amazon, on paperback, or Kindle.
Yo, the enemy's public, I gotta keep my eyes open. Pay attention, stop walking around like you blindfolded. This not the World Cup, but Nasir be kicking knowledge. This the type of information you can never learn in college. It's time to fight back, it's no more trying to play it cool. We got interviews, podcasts, and got the latest news. So sit back and relax, we about to get it started. Earth is a canvas, and guess who's the con artist? They brainwashing us, the system corrupted. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. You are now rocking with the enemy's public. I said you are now rocking with the enemy's public. Hey.
A once gold-driven, ambitious Sapphire turns to the street life after the sudden death of her big brother Dre. Dre's best friend Devontae tries to honor his homeboy's last request of looking out for his baby sister. A rebellious Sapphire makes it very difficult for Devontae to carry out his promise. Author Angela King James presents Fire. Get it on Amazon, on paper.